Hello and welcome to a very special Monday edition of the Winscape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell as we head into Thanksgiving week.
You're sitting there looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.
That's right. It is Sunday evening as we record this. There is a 7-game Monday slate ahead of us. The week ahead for our Canadian friends is a bit different because the NHL caters their schedule to the American audience, of course. There is one game on Tuesday and no games on American Thanksgiving on Thursday, so it'll be a Monday, Wednesday kind of week. DJ, how are you doing on this Sunday evening? Fill in the blank for me.
Horrific would be the right word. Yeah, I mean, I watched maybe a grand total of, 12 minutes of football today while I thought I was like, you know what, I was alive in a survivor for $500,000, 500 people left. And I went against my childhood favorite Cleveland Browns and watched only what could possibly occur in that scenario. The Browns bring me pain and suffering my entire life. Why would it stop today? And then my DFS lineup scored 182 points. You'd think, well, that must have surely cashed. No, it did not. I pulled back eighth of my entries. Just a fuckville slate of fucking nonsense. Matt, yours was no better, was it?
No, mine was also bad. I'm bad and suck, and also bad at hockey because hockey is the worst sport in the world, I guess. So, Saturday night was pretty good, but other than that, this week's been pretty dog shit. So I'm ready to start fresh on Monday.
Perfect. Here. Yep, I'm thankful for this show, and that's it. So why don't we get thankful? I'm thankful for your friendship. And that's it.
Well, okay. Now I know you're lying.
well, we could get right. I mean, we have 7 games, not a ton. As you mentioned, the big slate is Wednesday's slate. Hopefully, we're blessed with a good DraftKings offering. I don't know what basketball is going on. And there's no NFL before Thanksgiving. So maybe Wednesday will be better. Nothing crazy, $10K up top, $20 entry, hockey contest. But $10K would be something to be thankful for. I am guessing at this point we both would lose our collective minds if either of us could take on an NHL slate. So what are your thoughts?
Either of us, not at this point. We're going fucking scorched earth. It's me or no one. I'm happy for no one when they win. I need to win.
If I see, I honestly, like, every week still, like, the Discord has a ton of posts like, hey, we won, I won. And like, I used to be like, I love everybody. And now I'm like, when's it going to be my turn?
What the fuck's wrong with you people? Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes here. But
hold on, I'm gonna turn on another light. It's very dark on one side of me. You talk for a second.
The Dark Side of the Moon, starring DJ Mitchell's face. I don't know. 7 games. I'm working on getting the sheet updated for the final 2, so I guess that is what it is. We're not going to get to it, so we'll do that live. But here is the rainbow. Let me just set that up for y'all. Get the zoom correct and everything. Of course, if you're listening to this on the podcast feed, there are visuals over on DJ's YouTube channel, at NHL DJ on YouTube. Also, if you are watching this and you like the rainbow sheet, I post a full thing in the Discord every day, closer to Slate Lock, that includes player level stuff. So kind of gets the best of both worlds of what you get on this podcast, where we go through, every team. But I just highlight basically the top players on each team or on the slate via the rainbow sheet. So here we go. DJ, I can't even begin to describe. I cannot even begin to describe.
I can't find the right angle for this light. I feel like over here that I there's nowhere good. This, I feel like I'm telling a campfire story.
It kind of does. Do you have any good campfire stories?
Let me tell you the story of all of my lineups lately. They're very, very, very scary. There's nowhere. I don't know why tonight. It's like the shadows. I don't know. It's darkness all around me.
There once was a man who faded Jameer Gibbs.
nobody wanted to play that man more than me, and I did play him on FanDuel, and I will definitely stop talking about football as soon as I talk about FanDuel. Now the light's off completely. Okay.
Well done. We have Detroit at New Jersey, St. Louis at the Rangers, Philly at Tampa, Columbus at Washington, Florida at Nashville, Ottawa at LA, and Vegas at Utah. The slate is a bunch of 7 o'clock games, 8 o'clock for Nashville, and then 2 9 o'clock games with LA and Utah. I do not know LA is playing at 6 local time, so interesting. But keep that in mind if you are so interested in that game, because going to be an hour earlier than you're expecting. The Rainbow chart doesn't have too much of interest to say. They have Washington as performing quite well over the last little stretch, so I feel like part of that is that Montreal game where they just scored a fuck ton, but even under the surface, they've been performing rather well on a game-by-game basis, so I don't think there's I don't think that'll be surprising if you're, say, looking at like Hockey Viz for each game or whatnot. Tampa looks like they're in a pretty good spot. However, Tampa, as we know them, may not exist. More to come there. Nashville against Florida. Florida just gotten they just got ripped apart by Edmonton on Saturday, so that's kind of where that defensive number is coming from. But also, we've discussed over the year how Florida's been playing pretty up tempo, and they're not all that good. So maybe a spot to take advantage of from a Yossi back. And then finally, Vegas against Utah. These two teams played, I think it was Thursday night, Tuesday night. And Vegas, I mean, they just suffocated Utah. I believe it was also at the Delta Center. Was it on the road for Utah? I don't know. In any case, I remember playing Barrett Hayton, and it did not go well. So,
oh, wait. Saturday, Utah was home against the Rangers. So,
well, yeah, Thursday they were at home against Vegas.
Okay. Okay.
And,
anyways, though,
on Monday they're at home against Vegas. So there you go. Same.
Yeah, I think there are a few games like up front that may, like Detroit, New Jersey. I think there's a lot of interesting notes, and I think that game feels good on paper for goals, but doesn't look like maybe as appetizing here. Columbus and Washington, I don't think that's going to get by anybody with the way Washington's played as of late. And then Florida, Nashville, like those are kind of the 3 games I think I'm preliminarily focused on, which are the highest Corsi pace games on the sheet here, but also just they do, to me, feel that way in general. But I think breaking down each of them in order, all 7, is really just the way to do this. You know what I mean? The way we always do it. So is there anything else before we get into Detroit at New Jersey?
Yeah, the only 6.5 would be Columbus, Washington, it looks like. So if you are just using team totals, that's likely Washington is where your total chalk of the night is going to come from. All right. No, I think that's it. We've got everything else as we go game by game here. So here is the Detroit lineup. Vinny, Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Comfort, Kane, Casper, Kopp, Appleton is how they finished the game, and then Berger, Danielson, JVR. Samson would like to say hi. Say hi, everyone.
Hello, Samson.
YouTube chat. Otherwise, Ben Sherratt played with Mo Sider because Simon Edvinsson was sick. So Sherratt scored. He played like 28 minutes, just total donkey shit. But because of that, I'm guessing they keep him with Sider, given the third period comeback that Detroit sustained. That they achieved against the Blue Jackets. I'm guessing Edvinsson comes back. If so, he plays with Sandy Pellikka. If not, expect Bernard Docker to slot in there. Not sure about the power play. ASP kept it, but it's not been very good. They moved the power plays back to normal, but the 5-on-5 lines, Finney, Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Comfort, Kane. So Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Kane, ASP is what I'm expecting the power play to be. But again, could be Mo Sider. Who the fuck knows? Heading into New Jersey, it's not an overly appetizing spot. I'm pretty interested in what New Jersey does, though, because if they truly only have one line, like they just might send the fully loaded line out against Larkin, Raymond, and then DeBrincat, Comfort, Kane gets to pick on well, I have it as Gritsuk, Mercer, Palat. Like that doesn't seem super difficult. So maybe a little bit of secondary stuff there. But any interest for you in this Detroit side?
I mean, the Devils have looked rough as of late. It's not too surprisingly correlated to Jack Hughes going down. They've lost 4 of the last 5 games. They've been on the road quite a bit lately, finally returning home. There was 1 home game in the mix of the last 8 as well. But it's been quite the downtick. Your cat's purring quite loud. Maybe someone should build lineups around which teams your cat purrs the loudest towards. So okay, good omen in the start for Detroit. First off, I mean they break up the top line, Raymond and Larkin together, but Finney no longer there, as you said. So it kind of gives you the 2 options, right? Like, are you on Larkin Raymond route? Are you throwing in that last piece in Finney, who's come down in price? Are you going with DeBrincat, ironically enough, and Patrick Kane? Are you throwing in a guy like JT Compher for the price? Are you going back to the Van Dien Pellica route? There's kind of a different ways of building instead of the obvious, it's obviously Detroit 1 or super punts. It's a good, like I said, good game, good spot. I like a lot about it. I don't know if I'm worried about the fact it's on the road at all. If that makes me nervous, because I don't really think there's any sort of shutdown line in New Jersey that makes me at all hesitant to stack against. So I could go either direction. I almost like the idea of going to Brinket Kane. It feels a little bit different to me, but I'm really not. Yeah, I could be easily swayed in either direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting, Alex DeBrincat, he's been a prolific rate shooter for his entire career. Over the last 3 years before this one, he was 50% better than average, Corsi per 60 among forwards. This season so far, he is 80% better than the league average forward. He is on another level right now, shots-wise. He's actually not putting up much as far as primary points are concerned, which is sort of why why he's not just a league leading, why he's not Cutter Gauthier out here. But he is shooting a bunch. He is 8K, so it's priced in. But Comfort Kane, that full line is going to cost you 16.8K, gets you 2 power play 1 pieces. And yeah, Comfort sucks, but what else are you going to do on this Detroit team? I'm not sure. So Andrew Kopp is kind of interesting. He got a bunch of minutes last game. He got secondary power play time. He's going to be, empty net type candidate. So if you want to replace Comper with Kopp and just say, oh, well, Kopp's a little bit better and a little bit cheaper and, correlation be damned. I guess I don't mind that. But yeah, it's really, the main guys here. No surprise. New Jersey side of things, they got killed by Philly. DJ, do you know how many seconds it took for Philly to score 3 goals last game?
28, I think. I did watch that.
Yes.
So.
Michkov, Forster, back to back. Bang, bang, bang. And boom goes the dynamite. Jake Allen was an absolute sieve. I don't really they certainly did change things down the stretch. They did not break up Timo Hischier Bratt, which is interesting. But they did change it to Gritsuk, Mercer, Palat, Dodonov, Lamico, Brown, Nason, Glendening, Cotter. I mean, all this sucks. Don't get me wrong. Who the fuck cares whether it's Palat or Dodonov or Nason or whatever on that second line? But I think Palat's the stone worst option for that line. Yeah. So it's a little annoying. But yeah, the main appeal is going to be a Timo Hischier Bratt line. If it sticks, that is 18.2K. They do everything for this team. And if this team does anything, they are going to be the pieces that do everything. So only other note is Dougie Hamilton, top power play 5K. He's been relatively good this season, but he's also not quite as good as his past 3-year standards, which are absolutely ludicrous for a defenseman.
I mean, the fact that Dougie has 4 goals and 3 assists, that just is funny to me. How are you not looking into secondary assists? I mean, what does a guy have to do to get a couple secondary assists? But I mean, it's very, very noticeably that top line, and then everybody else. I don't even know. It used to be well, they don't really run the 4th line. Well, they didn't really run the 3rd line or the 2nd line. The Brett Mercer. I guess Mercer did get a good bit of mixing in with everybody too. Those 4 players, though, in general, I think you could actually go and put in Mercer. I know Matt will say that's stupid, but if they all get there, like Mercer could come along for the ride at 4,400. Like I think that could be the fourth option as well. But probably, the most concentrated 5-man, 4-man, and then again, like you could throw in a defenseman that's going to exist. Nemec, I still think is a punt option, even though he's not getting the power play role we want. He's still getting a power play role, and I think at any moment, if that power play stops clicking, could bump back up. His minutes are huge. He's getting blocks and shots and just super involved. So like, there's ways of going about it. Is it a great matchup against Detroit? Like, no, but it's not. I'm not anything I'm afraid to target. So yeah, I'm interested in this game on both sides.
Yeah, I like it's a little interesting. I worry a bit about changes, and I also don't know how much I'm missing out on. So I think I'll let news sway things. There's a lot more news later on that I think will be pretty interesting. So let's get over to St. Louis and the Rangers. St. Louis welcomed back Jake Neighbors. They grinded out a 2-1 win on Long Island on Saturday. I can't say I noticed too much of anything, but the Shen, Dvorsky, Buchnevich line got a ton of beat writer love. So I don't know that they're 3 players that play in the National Hockey League. That much I can say with certainty. And they are 10,100 all on a power play, 2 on the power play 1. Neighbors Thomas Snuggerud is 13.6K, also 2 on the top power play. And then who doesn't get power play time here?
Kyrou, Neighbors, Falk, Holloway, Shen.
So no Suter. Okay. And then Holloway, Suter, Kyrou has their 2 best fantasy forwards in Kyrou and Holloway, but they've not been all that good. And the minutes are just kind of a mess.
Yeah, the minutes are a mess. I mean, like this Blues team is probably the most infuriating team in the NHL, and I think I have no interest in playing them at this point. The top line does get run, and Jacob Neighbors coming back is certainly of note. Like I think Neighbors I just think the upside gets increased. Like what Jake Neighbors can do is score goals. So like Neighbors, Thomas, Snuggerud. Thomas isn't shooting at all. Snuggerud just I don't think quite has it all the way yet. And just his role is just a bit reduced compared to the other 2. He only saw 13 minutes last game. They're not any fun. They do not do anything very well other than try to block shots. Colton Parayko has a couple games, 8 shot blocks, 4 or 3, like. They're totally fine just playing the boring players and trying to gut out wins like they did last game. So I'm not interested in them at all. That's just the way that's going to go. I also think they kind of aren't that good. So I could look at the other side, but anything you want to say on the Blues before I just, completely move off them and we move on to the next game?
I mean, if Dvorsky and Buchnevich are going to get like the coach love and they might actually play some minutes, like clearly you're buying at like the lowest possible price for 2 power play 1 pieces. So 6,800 for those 2, like I could see it in a pinch, but yeah, the matchup's tough. We have a lot of time and more than most for this Rangers club. So it's really hard to find interest here. On the Rangers side, the prices are coming down here as well, and there's slightly more things of interest, especially on the expected fantasy point side. But Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Brodzinski, Zibanejad, Cooley. That's with JT Miller missing due to illness last game. Actually, I think it was illness, but it might have been injury. But anyway, not sure if he plays or not. Brodzinski up there for now, and then Sherry, Noah Laba, Radish, Hedstrom, Carrick, Parson, and whatever. That top 6 gets all the minutes. They get pretty good fantasy points. And 7,200 Panarin is too cheap. 5,500 is Zibanejad. He's been productive lately, so I guess got to say that's too cheap. I might wind up having a slight amount of egg on my face for burying Zibanejad, but also my bags are saved because I was also pretty into Zibanejad in the lead up to the season. So I'm not sure whether I win or lose there, but whatever the case, Zibanejad, Cooley are very interesting if JT Miller does not return. And honestly, if JT Miller does return, he shouldn't be anywhere near the power play one if he's not going to fucking do anything. Like, Panarin can play it from his strong side. Like, JT Miller doesn't need to be in the middle because that's where Trocheck lives. And Cooley is much better at screening the goalie and tipping pucks than JT Miller. So, like, hopefully Mike Sullivan figures it out. I'm guessing he doesn't. But yeah, if Miller misses, I'm certainly very interested in Zibanejad and Cooley. And then, of course, you could add Brodzinski for a 12.6K line stack. But Zibanejad Cooley would be my primary interest.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the Ranger side of this. I don't like the game. I don't like the environment, and I don't like the way the Blues are playing to just make things boring. But if gun to head, I think I have to try to find a way to get Panarin at this price. Like 7,200 just feels way too cheap for the type of player he is. And I know this year hasn't gone spectacularly, and like the rates have dipped as of late. He's been frankly pretty unlucky as well. Like you'll see the string of one shot on goal games. The attempts are there, more so than the pucks are getting on net, and that can flip at any time. Last 5 games he has 7 shot attempts per game. I just think that's how bad it's been for him getting pucks on net, which is rare for him. But regardless, I'm probably not going to the Rangers. I'm not going to say I'm completely out on the Rangers either. And I'm very torn between the top 2 lines because Trocheck at 4,900 in this role, 22 minutes, power play 1, feels way too cheap. Panarin feels too cheap. Adam Fox doesn't feel way too cheap, but might be necessary and very affordable for the price and the role. Like, there's something about this that I'm interested in, and I just don't know what it is there, like if I'm going to get to it or not.
Yeah, 2,900 Braden Schneider is worth noting. No Will Borgen in the lineup. I think he's on IR. So I think Schneider picks up some PK minutes, and he's got 23 blocks in his last 10 games. So if you're looking for a blocks bonus cheap, that's probably your best bet. Unfortunately, Scott Morrow did take his power play 2 role, but like it's just Adam Fox playing the full power play anyway, probably. Yeah. So that doesn't really matter much. So
Adam Fox played the full penalty kill and power play, all special teams last game. I mean, the power play or the penalty kill against, I'm pretty sure Utah took a penalty during it. It didn't get a ton of run, but still, like, what are we doing here? Like, again, like if you're stacking the Rangers, like, don't overlook Adam Fox. I mean, if they go off, like he is so integral to that offense. And if he's going to play 27 minutes, yeah, you know what I mean? Like he could get a blocks bonus. He could get 2 points. He might even shoot by accident.
Yeah. Legend has it. Adam Fox heard about DJ's beer league hat trick and requested to know where he got married so he could get married there.
Luckily for him, he went to the right spot.
Yeah, so cool stuff there.
He does try to emulate me, so he will probably be going for the hat trick. That's a very good point.
Yep.
So yeah, he looks up to me. What are you gonna do? You know what I don't look up to is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh,
although last night they did pretty well, scoring goals, 6 on an expected 2.8. Your classic nonsense slate. This also feels like a jumbled mess, and I just don't ever feel good about clicking on the Flyers. There's 3 lines to play Russian roulette with. At least there's a 4th line that's truly a 4th line. The top power play is, I don't know, it feels like it has to probably be Forrester, Zegras, Cates, Konechny, and York, but your guess is as good as mine. I feel like they got rid of one coach that was a nonsense guy and got another coach who just seemingly is also a nonsense guy. I just don't think I'm ever clicking the buttons here. Even if Tampa is without Point and Kucherov, like that in that scenario, maybe I take another look and I say there's something here, but I just don't want to.
Tampa, their blue line is Mosier, Cernak, Destu, Lilleberg, Radish, and I think Carlisle it was last game. So like Victor Hedman's out. We know Victor Hedman's out. We think Point is out. I mean, Point's been terrible, so whatever. We're pretty sure Kucherov is also out. Like there are going to be guys like Scott Sabarin and
I mean,
Dominic James and like all these dudes coming in to play actual giant roles now. And it's like, the nice thing about Philly is that they're priced for their current like usage. It's not like you're like Michkov is 6K and like how are you gonna pay 6K for a power play guy who's only gonna get 15 minutes? Like, no, the dude's 3,600. Like I don't know. I don't really see the hesitation because any problem that I have with it's already priced in and some. Like even Tippett and Zegras, who have been like their two best on paper performers, especially Zegras, like that line is 12.3K because Dvorak's just 3K. Like he's been scoring, he's been getting points. Like he's just 3K. Like who cares? Like yeah, he sucks, but like right now he's in between two awesome offensive players. So I think this team just makes sense from a stacking standpoint. Like, yeah, you're playing a little bit of like, oh, well, is it this going to be this line or that line or whatever, but I don't know. People play the Seattle Kraken in great matchups, and I think Philly's better than Seattle. And I think that this matchup is also very, very strong because of all the injuries that Tampa's dealing with. Konechny, Cates, and Forster might actually be their top line, like you mentioned, maybe their top power play as well. That's 11.7K, and they get to play on the power play with Zegras, who is probably their best offensive player at the moment. So while I'll always be partial to Michkov, I mean, he scored again for me Saturday. It was somewhat useful in helping to actually win money for once in my goddamn life. I prefer Michkov here, but like I have no problem going to these other lines because like you said, the fourth line is truly a fourth line. They don't get usage in tight games, so like the minutes really aren't a concern to me. So yeah, there you go. There's my impassioned Philly defense.
Forrester, Cates, Konechny. That's the line for me.
Okay.
I want to be as boring as possible and correlate the line that I know will get all the minutes no matter what. I'm going to give this game a lot of thought. It's basically the point, depending on the injuries.
Is Brisebois an assistant GM for Canada? He is, right?
Probably. I
think. Travis Konechny wants to make Team Canada.
There you go. I mean, it worked for the Buffalo guys with Bill Guerin in attendance, so why not? Why not work here?
That's right.
I
scored.
Like, I don't know. I cannot in good conscience tell you which one of these lines to play, but one of them probably is in a really, really good spot to win the slate. If not, in the winning lineup tomorrow, probably if Tampa's without the majority of their top players, which is just very likely the case. I mean, we just might as well get over there. Like, assuming Kucherov, who, by the way, in 5 minutes had a goal and 2 assists in 5 minutes of ice time. Like, what
the
are
first
we even
period
doing?
Was bad for Washington. They were
3 points in 5 minutes and 18 seconds. The slate's over, and then Kucherov goes down. I mean, just fucking the dumbest sport sometimes. We do not know. I would tend to agree with you that it feels pretty unlikely. Point played 11 minutes and 29 seconds. Not great. And you might be thinking like, okay, well then Tampa must have had a lot of guys really step up. Well, they started Curtis Douglas, who was the only player not to get more minutes than Kucherov, because even though he was healthy the whole game, you can't play that guy because he can't play hockey. So they really, really have to figure things out. Gensel, Hagel, Gord, Paul, some of those guys have been in the lineup, some have not. They got a massive increase in minutes. I think that is in the cards here. But does any of it lead you down the path of considering anyone on Tampa?
Yeah, so we truly have no update from them. They did not practice today. When Cooper was asked post-game, he said, quote, too soon. So there'll be a morning skate on Monday, so keep an eye on that. But this was a close game. Washington fought back. It was a close game. Like, I think if they were able to go, they would have come back. So, I don't really think they'll play. So right now, I think it'll be Gensel, Cirelli, Hagel. They combined to be 18K. They've all been pretty good. Even Anthony Cirelli, we know he's not much of a shooter, but he's been somewhat productive. And then Hagel and Gensel are certainly their two best guys going. So I think that 18K line makes a ton of sense here. I'm not afraid of Philly defensively. And the minutes are going to be through the nose if this is truly what the lineup looks like. Gonsalves, Paul, Bjorkstrand for a second line. Bjorkstrand has been shooting a ton, and most of that's on the power play. So the impact of Kucherov being out might be felt most strongly by Bjorkstrand, ironically enough. But the minutes will increase. Nick Paul is back, and I don't know if he's all that good, but he's certainly better than these other guys in the lineup here. So, yeah, and then
2,800, you don't need a ton from the guy that's
true.
probably going to be on the first power play. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, actually. Like,
no, it could be.
He'll be around it at least. Like, he'll mix. I don't think that they have a true number one power play. Obviously, when you don't have Point or Kucherov, it's really hard to say what your first power play is because, yikes.
Yeah. And then, in that game, Carlisle played 11 minutes. Radish 18, Mosier and Chernak played 25 and 23. The prices there make sense, 27, 2,600. But neither one is like a prolific block shots guy or whatever. So without Kucherov, the outlook is pretty bad offensively, I would say. So unless you're just stacking the top line, I wouldn't touch like Radish or anything like that. Like I think before you were playing him to get some exposure to Kucherov. And then we'll see who they call up. I don't know who they would call up. I guess they would do so on Monday because the AHL usually has games on Sunday nights. So like, why call them up early and screw over the team? Or that could mean they are fine and Point Kucherov will play. In which case, hey, those are good options. Consider Nikita Kucherov, believe it or not.
Yeah. I think that's all. Wait until tomorrow on this one, but we've given you the notes to get ready.
All right.
For an interesting one. The next game is, as we mentioned right at the start, like the most interesting from a DFS perspective, and both teams are pretty cheap. The most expensive player outside of Werenski is 6,900 Marchenko. So a lot of mid-tier options, a lot of good stacking pieces. And a top line in Columbus that's all power play one correlated still with Fantilli, Marchenko, and Voronkov. Is this the starting point for you on the Columbus side? Are you thinking about going back to the well here with Fantilli, who is just red hot since he got promoted to top center?
Yeah, I mean, he's leveled up in a pretty dramatic way. So I think it does start with Fantilli, but it's interesting that Marchenko is almost cooled off. Like it's odd because you would think, oh well, Fantilli on a heater, like Marchenko's come along with it, but that hasn't really been the case. Marchenko still bests the team in both expected fantasy points and shot attempts per game over the last 10. So ultimately, it might even be too expensive for me to really want to chase. I think this Washington team is quite good. I think as a 6.5 total, like the CBJ team total will be a little bit higher than I'm comfortable with. But we'll see about that. I don't know where the actual money line will land on Washington, but if Columbus is nearly a 3 team total, like I think they're going to get ownership given the other options on the slate here. So I think that's mostly an ownership question, but I think it's more of a matchup thing for me. It's like I just don't really like taking guys against Washington because I think they're good, and guess what? Sometimes Nikita Kucherov, carves them up for 3 points in 5 minutes, and it doesn't matter when I think of Washington's defense. So, all that to say, I like it, but maybe not as much as the field will.
I definitely like the Washington side more. And I think the biggest part of it is like the prices have come up in Columbus. It's still cheap, but they've come up a lot, like pretty considerably. And 8,200 Zach Werenski, again, it feels necessary. Like if you're saying this Columbus team is going to win the slate, Zach Werenski's putting up 30 points. Are you winning without that 30 points? No. So like you have to fit it in. There are ways to do it, but I don't think it's necessary to build that lineup, especially like I said, when the other side is just as interesting, if not more interesting. So if there's anything else you want to mention here, we can move over to the Ovechkins.
Dante Fabro, cheap shit punt. I Sissima played him on this Saturday slate. I also played Fabro because he just stood out in the expected range. But over his career, he's been a relatively productive DraftKings player, 15% above the average defenseman per minute in the last 3 years, and that's 16% this year. So 2,700 is just kind of a weird price for a guy who's probably going to play 18 minutes. So that's all I'll say. It's just, if you want to punt a D spot, Fabro's an option, and System will probably be right there with you, which is always a good thing. For Washington, some of this is guessing because both Wilson and McMichael had maintenance days today, but Ovi, Strome, Bavillier, Protas, Sordif, Wilson, Duhaime, McMichael, Leonard, Milano, LaPierre, Frank. I believe Nick Dowd will be out. Did he get put on IR? I feel like I almost asked the same question.
I don't think so. I never saw that.
No, yeah, he was not put on IR. So, in any case, I think McMichael, Leonard, Duhaime sticks. The main note from today's practice, not that Ferravari was power, it's that the top power play no longer has John Carlson, with Ryan Leonard replacing him. So Ovi, Strome, Wilson, Leonard, Chychrun. I'm assuming it was Wilson because it was Sordif in that spot, and both Wilson and McMichael missed. It could be McMichael in the top power play. Do not sue me if it winds up being that, but I assume that's going to be Tom Wilson because of how things go. And then McMichael was they had a placeholder. I think it was Ethan Frank on the second unit that I assumed was McMichael because McMichael's been pretty good. It could also have been LaPierre as the placeholder, but again, if
that was
Ethan
last game.
Frank's 8 minutes,
last game.
Good luck.
Frank was on the top power play. Or second power play.
Okay.
Frank, Cindy, and McMichael, Leonard, and Bavillier, and then McMichael took over the top power play. But it doesn't matter. Who really cares? Like, this team does kind of change the dichotomy of the lineup depending on if they're winning or losing. Like, they were trailing in that Tampa game, as we mentioned, when Kucherov went down and stuff. Like, Leonard's minutes got pretty increased, but that comes at the price of Duhaime, or whatever it is, and LaPierre and Frank and stuff. But like, if they're winning, on the other hand, those guys get over the boards first, and the guys like Leonard and McMichael get a bit diminished, which is frustrating. But this game kind of lends itself to being a bit of a crapshoot, so I don't mind punting and risking it, especially for a guy like Ryan Leonard, who is just ultra talented and has that shot mentality and that 5-shot plus a goal at 3,200 upside that not many players have, really ever. So I'm interested. I'm also interested in the top line. Like, I have no problem playing Strome and Ovi. Strome doesn't shoot, but like, he's very, very, very good. 3 points is certainly enough to get you by. He did it against Montreal. If this game does turn into just the game you had to have, and you could stack both sides pretty easily, I am interested in how to do and like that kind of a build tomorrow. Ovi's been very, very good and finally getting rewarded. He was playing good, just not scoring, and now he is. Chychrun has continued to be awesome. Like, both sides have one of the elite rate shooters on the slate, and both of them are defensemen. Funny enough, like, Werenski is just on the season one of the top 5 shot producers in the league, and so is Chychrun. So it's easy to build, but I think one side's more like obvious than the other. You know what I'm saying? But like, I like Washington more.
Chychrun is literally having the Zach Werenski season from last year. Like, just not out of nowhere, because he was like Werenski, he was going around like pick 100 in the offseason, and no one was like, oh my god, Jake Chychrun, who is that? But like, the fact that he is now at the level of Zach Werenski, Quinn Hughes, arguably Cale Makar, though Cale Makar just keeps scoring and maybe puts that out of reach. But like, the fact that he's just like comfortably in like the top 10 of fantasy defensemen is very, very impressive. I don't think 6K on the best matchup of the night really reflects that. So Jake Chychrun is certainly top of my list. Ovi is up there, though. He was 6K, I think, on Saturday, so now his price is going back up. But he's been productive. He's been shooting. He's not old Ovi, but he's still a pretty damn good fantasy player. Interested to see where that price stops. And then, I mean, Ryan Leonard, 3,200 is just significantly too cheap. We know who he's going to be as an NHLer, and that he's going to be as a rates monster. So getting in before the minutes, really take off is the best way to ensure that you don't miss it, because he's been good and he's been bubbling under the surface, and now on the top power play, I just think that unless Justin Sordiff is really on the top power play and Ryan Leonard was the placeholder for Tom Wilson, I think Leonard is an absolute smash in this game as well.
Yeah, could definitely build like a Leonard Chikrin and then like the top line in Columbus and say like the top line in Columbus goes crazy early on and then like Leonard's playing a bunch and gets there late. Like I like the ideas are circulating for this game. But moving over to the next game, if you're ready, Florida at Nashville. Florida, as we mentioned, it didn't go great in the Stanley Cup rematch against Edmonton. A lot of build up to that game and certainly just could have looked for a little bit better in net for Bobrovsky is all we can really say there. But this team wasn't lifeless as far as offense was concerned. They had 4.3 expected, didn't really get it done entirely, but Lindell, Marchman, and Samoskevich certainly were pretty solid. The power play stays the same. Samson's with you there, but Samson, Rodriguez, Boquist stays together. Reinhart scored on the power play. Tell me if you ever heard that before. And they get a much easier matchup against Nashville. I mean, Nashville did return Roman Josi, a little bit better, but they're certainly not a team anyone would be afraid to stack against. So with all that out of the way, is there anything on the Florida side that you're interested in off the cuff?
I think Nashville is just kind of a dead team in that, like, I don't even want to pick on them. Like, they just kind of just seem like they're out there to play keep away or something. I don't really know how to explain it, but I don't really feel like I'm ever watching Nashville going like, yeah, this is going to be a fun fantasy game, which sucks because they have fun fantasy players in Nashville. But the Florida side, I think it's just too expensive for me. Lindell Marchand is going to run you 12.2K for two guys who I like them, but I don't think I like them, that much relative to other options here. Sam Bennett's slowly turning his season around. He's been a little bit better as of late, but having AJ Greer on that line, like this just doesn't really feel like the game where I want to be picking and choosing, one-offs and making like a bet on the team kind of stack, maybe like a Washington, like I just outlined with Ovi, Leonard, Chikrin, that kind of a deal. Like I just want to full stack something, and nothing here really feels great. The best option would be Lindell, Marchand, Samoskevich, but I'm not in a game. I'm not super compelled.
In a game, Nashville lost 3-0 on, I believe it was Saturday against Colorado. The top pair was Brady Shea and Nick Perbix. Like that was the pair that got all the run, not Blankenberg, not Josi. And I get it, Josi coming back from an injury, but it's like, dude, like what are we doing? Like we can't score. Got to get Brady Shea over the boards. Like what the fuck is going on? And I really just think you're right. Like this team is content losing 2-1, and it doesn't really make any sense to me. And with Florida playing, just this kind of nonsense, like the way to build is just to, in my opinion, is just go Reinhart, Lindell, and Marchand, not Marchman, Jesus Christ, go Marchand. Like just put that together, and that's the winning formula if it gets there. Like I don't think you need to get crazy. You can throw Seth Jones in. It technically is a revenge narrative. He was drafted by Nashville, so I mean, if you needed something. If you needed anything,
okay.
When they get there at 4,600, he makes sense, but I really don't think I'm going to end up on Florida. There's just a few spots I like more than it, and it just feels discombobulated, like you said. But I would just go with the best players on the team instead of going like, how do I get Jesper Boquist in this build with Reinhart? Like he might just have 1.3, and Reinhart has a hat trick. Like that very, very reasonably could happen. So yeah, I guess we can talk about Nashville for a minute.
Yeah, we can. I've already moved on. Nashville, Forsberg, O'Reilly, Evangelista, Stamkos, Howla, Wood, Bunting, McCarron, Marchessault was how they went against the Avs. You already highlighted Josi back. He was paired with Nick Hague. Josi 6,500, Nick Hague 2,500. But Hague hasn't done much in his time in Nashville so far. He missed the beginning of the season, like training camp and whatnot, due to injury. So, a little bit of a bummer. They gave him a lot of money to be impactful, and he's just been, I would say he's been fine on ice, but certainly not a needle mover.
He's the only guy they did that for, right? There's no one else in this team they gave a bunch of money to be impactful, and it hasn't been.
Good point. I guess he doesn't want to tip the apple cart, be too much of a disruption in the locker room. So that makes sense. You're right.
Perfect.
Yeah, Steven Stamkos at 3,700 will never not look weird. He's shooting, but that's it. He's shooting. This is like Mika's advantage ad times 8 as far as just this dude is cooked. So it's bad. There's nothing good here, and I would stay far away.
Does
Sad.
Steven Stamkos have a
Ottawa
primary assist?
So
Wait,
don't be surprised. Yeah. I can hear you.
I thought you just ignored me then completely. Okay.
No, I'm not. I was just fixing.
Okay, no. Steven Stamkos has 1 assist on the year. It was a primary. I was going to say, does he have a singular primary assist? And I guess so. But yeah, doesn't matter. This team is terrible. We move on to the Jordan Spence revenge narrative game 2.0. This time we're going to call it out and remember it. This time in LA. Game on paper looked bad, but is it? Is this a time we get back on the LA bandwagon? We were all over it. I guess let me speak for myself. I was all over it on Thursday, and then you were all over it on Friday or Saturday. I don't remember which. Yeah, I was all over it on Thursday. You were all over it on Friday. How did it work out for us?
Yeah. Badly, very badly.
Okay, good.
We are bad and should be punished as such. I don't know. Yeah, pretty tough. Ottawa did get Tom Chabot back though, so let's talk about them first. Then we can get to the LA stuff that I was reading about instead of caring about the Nashville Predators. Finally, let's see. Clevin and Spence were the third pair. Cool. That is great. Thank you all for your.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Stützle has been really good. That's worthwhile. Everything has taken a step up over years past with no Brady Tkachuk. The shot rate increasing maybe isn't a total surprise, but it's nice to see. The price doesn't really reflect that. Drake Batherson's cooled off a touch. What is he at on the year? Is he still pacing for 90 points?
No.
Let's see.
He is
20 points in 18 games. Well, I guess he missed a few games. So
yeah, it's not, but yeah, very good. You were right all along.
Yes, good for Batherson. His shot rate has been much lower than you would expect, oddly enough. So maybe some course correction in line for Stützle Batherson, but in any case, those are the two primary pieces that you're going to want to look to. Jake Sanderson, 6,100, maybe a little bit expensive for the matchup. But otherwise, the middle six, Giroux, Pinto, Amadio, Greg, Cousins, Zetterlund. I believe that all helped. No, Greg got hurt. That's right. He's missed for a little while. So that's just the fact that they haven't been on a slate that I've cared about in a little bit. Eller, Cousins, Zetterlund, and then Nick Cousins, Halliday, and Hodgson, whatever, 2 AHLers who they played for 5 minutes.
Combined.
Yes, combined. So what does that mean? David Perron gets a secondary, gets some power play time. Hey, look at that. Top line gets even more interesting. 14.6K. That's it.
Top line or nothing. I have no interest in going down the rabbit hole of whoever the fuck these prospects are. They don't play.
All right. My God, I'm just reading this hoping for good news, and there is no good news. So let's just
got a super chat. Happy Thanksgiving from 2 Upper Pros. Hey, we kind of talked about Florida being good. We just don't like the matchup. So you're welcome. Thank you so much for the super chat. And I hope Tua wins the president. I didn't know he was running this year.
Yeah. Also, Austin here. Florida lines, they just play random pairings. Yeah, that's somewhat true too. But Yeah, they're just not a team that I want to sit here and go like, yeah, man, I really want to bet on this game popping off and feel comfortable, getting multiple goals from multiple places. I just don't think the prices or the matchup are all that enticing for me. Anyway, thank you, Tua. Tua for second to the AFC East at this rate. All right. Fiala, Byfield, Kempe held in practice. The only change was Fogel and Fogel went to the fourth line. Armia went to the second line.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. With Danilo Ferrier?
Yeah.
Or is he with Kopitar, more Kuzmenko?
I think he was with those guys. Hold on.
So then there's more changes.
Okay, never mind. More Kopitar, Kuzmenko. We're good there. And then, Fogel. So that's Armia. And then this should not be a lot. It should be Warren Fogel. Cool. Great. I guess that was Sam Hellenius. Sure, whatever. Okay, power play is what we care about. It's been horrendous. It has been an embarrassment. It has been the bane of my existence on this side. And so Byfield on the second unit, Brant Clark on the second unit. Today's practice was all about fixing the power play. However, you know what? Just put me on 3x for the next minute. I'm just going to read this. Jim Hiller said after the Boston game that the power play is costing the Kings games right now. I agree, Jim. This came after an 0-for-5 showing in a game that ended 1-1 through 60 minutes. Included was 70 seconds of 5-on-3 time. Kuzmenko says we need to play better. Well, yeah, you need to play better, asshole. Jim Hiller spoke at length about the power play after the game. He spoke at length about the possibility of changes coming. This is the beat writer, I was personally pretty surprised to see no personnel changes to the first unit. So we are truly running out. Kempe, Fiala, and 3 of the biggest motherfucking boat anchors you could possibly stick onto an ice surface in Kopitar, Kuzmenko, and Perry. All 3 of these guys can think the game of hockey. I don't dispute that. They need someone who can fucking do something with the puck. What are we doing here? My God.
This is the first time I've ever been mad about Jim Miller. So
the entire top unit was on the ice before the full group and stayed later than the majority of the group working on in-zone concepts. I have a concept. Score a goddamn goal. All right. Okay.
So here's a concept. Here's another concept. What happens when the 4th worst power play meets the 3rd worst penalty kill? Because Ottawa, second worst, tied with Seattle. So technically second worst, 3rd worst, however you want to look at it. Like they're killing at 70%. That's been the Achilles heel. Okay. Is this the get right spot?
Well, do you want to know what happens, DJ? Do you really want to know what happens here? By the way, I never fixed the fucking display. No one ever tells me these things.
Matt. Continue.
No, do you want to know what really happens is Jim Hiller slithers his way out of this one once again. Yep. It's what's going to happen. They're going to score 2 goals and it's going to be like, oh my God, that's so great. They did such a great job. But okay, here's the thing. They signed Corey Perry. I made this argument in the Discord, but only like 3 people hang out in the Discord and maybe like 10 people listen to this podcast. So here we are. Corey Perry came from their biggest rival. They're not Edmonton's biggest rival, but they're the Kings' biggest rival because, the Kings are, a little sister franchise right now. Okay. Corey Perry crushed it on the power play in the playoffs with 3 guys who can move the puck in RNH, McDavid, Draisaitl. They also had a massive right-handed shot from the goddamn center of the ice surface who is talented and able to get pucks through to the goalie so that he can tip them on the net. If you want to optimize around Corey Perry, that's fine. I'm not going to dispute that you can do that. He's fucking Corey Perry, but he has some value in this league. You do not need both Anze Kopitar and Andrei Kuzmenko standing there doing nothing. Go put Quentin Byfield on the ice. Go put Brent Clark on the ice. Let them create chaos, and Corey Perry cleans it up. That is all we need to do. It is so fucking simple. Go watch a playoff game, Jim Hiller, and see where Corey Perry went crazy. Like, I cannot believe that this is what we're dealing with, but it's gonna neuter Brent Clark's fantasy value because, you know, him and Byfield get 20 seconds of ice time where they zip around and do fun stuff, and then it dies on the stick of, you know, whoever, Phil Deneau, where, I mean, all this power play stuff is wrong for the second unit, but you know, it's just the Kings where fun goes to die. Unfortunately, the Ottawa Senators are also where fun goes to die. Thus, it's pretty easy to move on without really caring, but there's my rant for the day.
I totally agree with the rant. Like, if you want to watch two players put up metric tons of expected fantasy numbers, watch Fiala and Kempe. You're just going to be like, I expect so many fantasy points here. And then they're never going to hit your lineup. And you're just going to sit there and say, well, how did they not? Because they're just anchored. I mean, they have to get there at 5-on-5 with Byfield. Or if they don't, I don't know. I mean, you're praying for the power play luck to turn. It can, of course. Like, a team can win a face-off and shoot a puck and get a rebound. Like, anything can happen, and it can turn. It's LA or nothing for me. It's obviously Kempe and Fiala, and then I might even just shut it down. I might click on Byfield and pray that the light of God comes through to Jim Hiller after, early enough into the game, but it won't.
Happening.
So
not happening.
You can't just play
too expensive.
Kempe.
I can't do it.
Yeah. Okay. One game left. It is an interesting one. Vegas travels.
By the way,
okay.
I mean, the rainbow chart just hates this game. Like, absolutely nothing going for this game. That's been the case for most Ottawa games, but just noting it because of for obvious reasons. All right, Utah Vegas. You can get us started here.
Utah Vegas, as my light goes out again. Yeah, it's Braden Bowman's world. I'm glad we get to live in it. It's nice of him to allow that. I continue
not
to
for long.
Continue to stack the second line and say, Marner, Hurdle, Dorofeyev, you're going to do it. I know it. And I'll tell you, Dorofeyev and Marner had a beautiful assist on the overtime goal to Cutter Gauthier. I mean, what a play they made, giving him a tap in front of the net goal. Hope that they can figure it out with their own players soon. Hurdle really has been quite good and not getting rewarded. Like, I would not avoid him in any build. But Eichel and Bowman, Eichel's he's on another planet. It's been kind of fun to watch. The defensemen have come down in price. It was sort of like, I think I'm just putting in, Hanifin here and Theodore there. But I actually think, if you're playing Eichel and Bowman, I'm not going to dispute it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it. Put in Shea Theodore. They're going to have to score at 5-on-5 to win. Shea Theodore is playing with them. If you're playing Marner, Hurdle, and Dorofeyev like an absolute idiot named DJ, who probably will click those buttons, play Hanifin. I mean, Hanifin is shooting the puck. He might get, one through that gets tipped or rebounds, and, Marner makes a play. That's the way it's going. I'm interested in both sides. I think Utah's played pretty bad as of late, but Matt, what do you think here?
Yeah. I mean, Bowman just continues to do it. The 5-on-5 time on ice is a little strange, just substantially less, but I think that's because he's just taking shorter shifts than his line mates. I don't think they're starting with different combinations, which is a little weird. But 3,600, I mean, again, he's in a really good role with Jack Eichel. I don't think he's worthy of it whatsoever, but doesn't matter what I think. So that's that. You make a good point about Shea Theodore. The price continues to fall. The production's actually starting to come around. So, maybe a good time to get in on that. Still playing 25 minutes a night. This seems really, really good, top to bottom. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, in my opinion. The line with Smith, Howden, Saad continues to be incredibly cheap for actually decent minutes. The fourth line plays 10 minutes, the third line plays 14 to 16 minutes. 7,700 for a 3-man. Riley Smith continues to just do nothing despite playing a pretty decent role. Saad kills penalties. Howden seems like he has juice, though he's done nothing with it. So I don't really know what to make of that. And then Braden McNabb down at 2,900, just another guy you can pretty much preload in the blocks bonus for, and anything else is a bonus playing with pretty good players. All that said, I'm not a huge proponent of this spot. Eichel, if there's no Kucherov, may be just the default spend up option. So worth keeping an eye on that, because if people are just in the era of locking in the highest projected player on the slate, like I think that's going to be Eichel. Even with Kucherov in, it might be Eichel. So keep an eye out there for clear ownership concerns. But other than that, yeah, good spot, good team. Just maybe not the best matchup because I kind of just want to keep taking chances on this Utah side with Barrett Hayton on that top unit, and now on the top line, and now on the top power play as well. I'm wondering if that sticks, I guess. You're going to say something there?
Nope. Keep going.
Okay. Well, because they beat the
Rangers.
Right?
It was Carcone, not Yamamoto. Yamamoto was on the fourth line with Sunland and Tanev. Regardless, like, oh man, I mean, we just saw this game, and I feel like this, and like,
poorly
and
for me.
And then I mean, like, even though Utah kind of they beat the Rangers 3-2, but like they just are not interested in getting into track meets, and they're not allowing it. And I think the lineup is indicative of that. Like they're not. It's just not going to happen. Like they're going to play lower tempo than I ever thought would be imaginable for this team, and it's just like, I'm just not playing this side. Like Vegas
on most slates
can do that versus they can beat them at that game.
Yeah, on most slates, I think that's worthwhile. I mean, there's only one game on this slate with a 6.5 total. That's Columbus, Washington. There's only 2 other games with even like average Corsi paces. That's Detroit, New Jersey, Florida, Nashville. I think I've talked through those with relative disinterest. So if the idea is like, can this game pop off or something? Like I kind of trust this game, I think, more than the rest of the 5.5 pack to actually break out from this slate. So slate context considered, I think this is still sort of an interesting game. So that's the only reason that I'm like, actively considering it, just because I don't trust that the field is getting here, and I think that they might overplay some of the other spots on this slate that I'm similarly uncomfortable with.
I think that's fair. Like I said, to me, it's Vegas 2 or nothing, and like maybe throwing an Eichel with Vegas 2 is my plan, and probably just avoiding Bowman and hoping that he's not involved in a power play goal, and that's fine. He doesn't play enough to bury me. So I get it. It's a small slate. It's not going to see much ownership, and Utah does have quite a bit of firepower that's come way down in price, but like it's deservingly come down in price, in my opinion. Right. Is there anything else before we get into top six here and D goals?
Yeah, final note I have is the Barrett Hayton thing with the power play. It's something I care about, and I looked into it over the summer, just trying to figure out. It was actually after the Peterka trade when people were like, "Oh, Peterka is going to be top power play," but I was like, and obviously not. And I was even saying that it shouldn't even be Logan Cooley. But basically, the idea was at 5-on-4 over the last 2 years, prior to this one, of course, with Keller, Gunther, Sergachev, Hayton, they had like 105 time on ice, 110 shots per 60, 8.6 expected goals, and 10.3 actual goals. When it was Keller, Gunther, Sergachev with no Hayton, they had 102 minutes, and their Corsi 4 dropped by 18% to 89 per 60. Their goals dropped by a quarter, 6.4 per 60. And their goals stayed the same, which, again, I was like, maybe they continue to shoot 25% without Hayton. Clearly they didn't, because their power play sucked all year. So, like, I do think there is some element of, like, Barrett Hayton will actually help the power play, like, function and, like, be able to do stuff. And that's your get out of jail free card for, saving Gunther's fantasy season pretty much. So like, even though they're not together at 5-on-5, I still think Gunther Hayton is a useful little stack there.
Did they run this in
obviously.
practice?
They ran it 2 games ago, and then last game they didn't get a power play.
Okay, perfect. I was gonna say, because last game they didn't get a power play, so I was making sure. Well, they kind of did. It was like the very, very, very end, but they did run it. Okay. Yep. Okay, that's all. I'm good. Top sacks, guaranteed goals. Let me pull it up. What did we do last time out? I don't even remember. I don't think it was terrible though.
Morgan Geekie scored his 17th goal of the season.
I saw that. I'm ignoring it. It can't hurt me. Last time out, you had New York Islanders 1 and CBJ 1 with Ovi and Trocheck. I had Nachos and Bolduc, LA 1 and Detroit 1. I don't think that was great, but honestly, off the top of my head, I don't really know.
Sorry, what did you just say?
You had Ovi, Trocheck guarantee goals. I had Nachos, Bolduc, and I know Bolduc didn't score. I don't remember.
Oh, trust me, my Thursday was excellent.
Ovi had a hat trick. Okay.
Yeah. You know how my Thursday went, right? You didn't see the Discord post. Do you know my top 2 sacks of the night on Thursday, DJ? It was Columbus won, and Islanders won. If you just played Werenski with Sorokin, and I think what was the other one off? I think there was enough room. There was enough room for Radish perfectly as like just a chalk B-man, throw it in. You scored like 150 points, easy. You don't even do anything. You just listen to the last 5 minutes of the podcast. Go, oh, what did Mood say to stack? You just do it. You kind of use your brain a little bit to get the goalie and Werenski in there, but it's just so easy. DJ, did I make a dime on Thursday? I did not.
Great. So I'm very happy for you. Thank you for helping.
But at least my guaranteed goal scored a fucking hat trick.
Proud of you. Okay. Do you want to go first for top sacks then, or want me to go first?
I don't. No, I don't want to commit to anything because now I'm afraid of my powers.
I will go all the way back to the beginning of the show and go with New Jersey 1. Just as long as they stay together with Timo, Bratt, and Nico Hischier. I'm gonna go to that. I actually think that might be a little bit sneaky, which means it won't be sneaky at all and be Giga Chalk.
Okay, I'll do Perron, Stützle, Batherson. Fuck Jim Hiller.
How do you really feel?
He's a dick. He hates my fantasy bags. Well, what can I say?
I will go with, I don't know, Washington power play. Ovi, Leonard, Chikrin. So Ovi, 1. If you want to throw in 1.5, I don't know if you want to throw in Strome too, but whatever that is, whatever that looks like to you.
1.5. Okay, got it.
I don't know.
Really, really convincing stuff there. No, I'm gonna do that Rangers top line: Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere.
Okay. And for the goals, do you want to get the party started with goals? I'll pull up the thing I got here.
Yeah, sure. I'll do Clayton Keller, guaranteed goal, 6,300.
Okay. Keller. I will go. I know which team I want one of my guys from. I'm just debating on which player. Keller's decently expensive. You know what? I'll go really high, and then I'll see what that leaves me with. So I will go with what is 7,100? What does Reinhardt leave me with before I lock that in? Yeah. I'll do Reinhardt.
Unfortunately, Samson was not here to confirm that one, but let's see. So I have 4,700. I am going to take advantage of the news that I think will be incoming and take Anthony Cirelli 4,500. I think at least one of Point of Kucherov is going to miss here, maybe both. And Cirelli, not the most prolific shooter, but I think he gets the job done for us here, playing with Tampa's best players and scores a goal for us.
Okay, that is fair. Do I game stack that? Because I was looking at Philly pieces.
Interesting. I thought you said no thank you to Philly. Interesting.
I didn't say no thank you exactly. I just don't like it. It's not easy to click on, and therefore my brain doesn't. You know what? Fuck it, dog. Give me Barrett Hayton. Give me Barrett Hayton.
Where do you get your ideas?
I get them from you. Give me that
how good is
Barrett Hayton.
How good has that done for you?
Not well.
Okay,
poorly.
So there you go. You guys have your goal fade of the night. Just bet against Barrett Hayton in whatever form possible. It'll make both of us sad.
Minus 900 not to score if you find it. Like, what are we fucking talking about?
Freest money.
He has 2 goals in 20 games. Like, nice. All right. Let's get out of here.
Okay. We will be back on Tuesday night for the Wednesday extravaganza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 game slate on Wednesday. So I'm not going to make it. Not going to make it to that one. All right. So we'll be live there. We have not discussed this, but Friday availability. Are you traveling for the holiday?
I won't be around.
You won't be. You will be.
I will not.
Okay. I likely will, so we'll see what the slates look like. Last year, I wasn't able to do anything because I got a flat tire and had to deal with that on the way to Thanksgiving. So Black Friday was spent tire shopping, which is very fun. But hopefully this year I have better luck and can get something out there, likely in the form of just like a casual stream for an hour or so. But we'll see what the DK slate looks like. Games are all day starting at noon pretty much. Most of them go off at 4. So kind of interesting night. And yeah, the weekend, there's a lot of games Saturday as well. So, again, I'll be around. I don't know what the contest will look like. And so if you follow me on Twitter at Fake Moods, you know when I go live. If I do go live on YouTube, it will be on my personal YouTube channel. It would not be via DJs, for example. So make sure you give me a follow. It's I think it's also at Fake Moods on YouTube as well. Let me just confirm that. But in any case, if you're in the it is. It's at Fake Moods. If you're in the Discord, you'll get an at if I go live. So just make sure you're in the Discord, DM me or DM DJ, and we can get you the link to that. That's the easiest way to keep up with all of our nonsense. So I think that's everything. All that said, I'm not planning on doing a newsletter for those massive slates because they're too large and too many games, and I'm not sure what a condensed write-up would look like of a slate. I'd rather just go through each game, able to just give quick thoughts. So
okay,
best of luck on Tuesday or Monday. Jesus.
Have a good Monday, everybody.
Alrighty. Thank you all for listening. From Doug, from DJ, from myself. Have a good Counter-Strike Major Day 1, everybody, and we will see ya.
You're sitting there looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.